It's we have the whole floor now, and it's
Alright. So, alright.
good.
So what originally got you
Should I
in?
get this out of the way?
It's fine.
This-
I don't think you'll mind.
okay.
So what originally got you into architecture?
You know, I always wanted to do it. I think it's just like trying to figure out the puzzle of how to build buildings. So I mean, you know, I'm fortunate because ever since I was 15 years old, I wanted to be an
You
architect.
wanted to be an architect. Did you ever try anything else, or was that?
No, I mean, it really, I've been on this pursuit since then. There's something about it that kind of just captured me, and the kind of complexity of like what it is. So,
Building a.
yeah, just building big buildings all over the world, which was really what I wanted to do, and so figure out how to do that.
What has been, I'd say, your favorite thing about?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have no regrets, and now do I want to do something else? Maybe, like 30 years later. As an architect, you really get good actually later. Because it's very complex to do this, so, you know, when you turn 50 and 60, you're actually, unlike some professions, like you're in acting, like you're done at 40. Where in this profession, you're not good. You know, I worked for Frank Gehry at Bilbao, and he was 65 before he did the most important building in the world. So
yeah.
I'm just starting to get good now.
Just starting to get good.
So I think I stick with it.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to in the future?
Yeah, no, I think just doing more buildings, building more things, and I'm always just not afraid of the future. It's like, don't do historical buildings, don't do any of this, but just figure out how to do buildings for the time that we're in.
Yeah. What would you say was your biggest hurdle?
That's a good question. I mean, I think I've always fought, you know, people never expecting much out of you because I come from some little town in the middle of nowhere. So, but I've always kind of surrounded myself with good people. But I think the biggest hurdle has always been just kind of defending myself for, you guys grew up in LA, I didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to always like defend that you actually know what you're doing, even though you came from some like middle of nowhere. So I think, but through hard work, you can do it.
And you went to college for architecture.
Yeah.
And what were you doing right after college? Where were you right when you finished college?
So I went to undergraduate school, and then I worked for a year or two, and then I went to graduate school, and then I actually went to Europe for 6 9 months.
What'd you?
Just traveled around, because I think that's a big part of architecture, a big part of anybody's life. So, and then I moved to Chicago after school, and that was like what set me free, was just going to.
Was there ever any self-doubt or something that you had to get over?
Yeah, of course. I think every day you wake up with like, uncertainties. But that's part of it. I mean, you just have to conquer those because if, yeah, absolutely. But if you look at the big picture, then you'll be okay. But, I mean, that's just part of life, right? But there's some self-doubt.
Yeah. And then, if you had one big message for kids our age, what do you think it would be?
No, I think it is to stick with things, because I think now that the kind of immediacy of things is so part of what you guys grew up with. And I think architecture, for example, is just one of these professions where, it's not like anything else where you just actually, it's so complex and takes so long that you kind of have to stick with it. And, people love to leave their first job in 3 years, and I think if you can actually stick with it 5, 6, 7 years. So I think it's just, it's sticking with things that just aren't normal, because, you guys want to switch around like every year.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, so architecture itself, I think, is a very kind of complex profession, and you have to have a real passion for it, I think, to kind of put up with all the late nights and all the hours. It's a very demanding profession. I mean, there's no question, because it's never over. You can keep designing, and you can keep, there's never an end to it, because like, okay, I can make it better. It's like even the guy that designed all this, right? It's like, I'm going to change the color on that, and so it's relentless. I mean, it just goes on and on. So, but that's what it is.
And do you have a favorite building you've done?
Yeah, my favorite building, I have two, actually. my first favorite building is John Hancock Center in Chicago, which was my first boss. You know, this amazing kind of building. And then the Guggenheim Bilbao, which I worked on in Bilbao, which was a game changer in the world. So I think those two were both like game changers. I was kind of part of both of them. So.
I think that's
Really?
good.
Pretty
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Told you it'd be fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have to edit it and do all those other things.
Yeah.
That's
Before tomorrow morning. The class at 8:30.
Really?
Yeah.
But
So.
you guys, you'll probably be fine. So this is probably the hard part, right?